Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Good day, everyone. This study was conducted in response to the institutionalization of mother tongue-based multilingual education in the Philippines. Because of this law, many non-Tagalog languages in the country were caught off guard because they need now to teach the grammar of the L1, of their L1. So some don't even have orthography, much more the grammar. So Waray is an Austronesian language spoken in Samar, northern and eastern Leyte, and parts of Biliran in the eastern Visayas region of the Philippines. It has about 3 million speakers. Given the need to study the local languages in the Philippines for pedagogical purposes, I set out to investigate the morphosyntactic behavior of Waray roots. Morphosyntactic function refers to the role performed by a full word or phrase in a sentence that is predicative, traditionally known as verb, or referential, traditionally known as noun, and modificative, traditionally known as adjective or adverb. Okay. In the Philippines, especially in schools, we usually use English as the basis for analyzing Philippine languages. For example, if the word house is noun in English, we consider balay or house in Waray as a noun. It follows what Dixon calls canonical scheme 1, where words are bounded. Words are absolutely categorized into noun, verb, and adjective or modifiers. However, this is not true in Waray, as can be seen in the example. For example, the root balay, it can function as a predicate. Gimbalay ko hinanay. And then it can function as reference. Amon ini balay. And the same can also function as modifier. Okay. For this reason, some linguists argue that roots in Philippine languages, such as Waray, are precategorial. That is, any word may serve a predicational function when affixed with verbal inflection or morphology. However, this is not entirely true because not all roots can perform predicative functions. The proposition that roots have no argument structures, however, collapses with the existence of Waray roots that shift their syntactic category with the use of vowel length or prominence shift. This behavior of Waray roots is consistent with Himmelmann's position that roots in Philippine type languages are not precategorial, but belong to different morpho-lexical classes. So, for example, we have event-evoking roots with prominence on the first syllable, and then they could shift, okay, their category into entity-evoking root with prominence on the second syllable, like balay, balay, bitay, bitay, crap, and crap. And then we also have event-evoking roots with prominence on the first syllable, and then they can shift to attribute-evoking root with prominence on the second syllable. Like karag and karag, turog, turog, sunog and sunog, and so on. So my research question are these. So are Waray words pre-categorical, absolute, or variable? So in the Waray corpus, um, I counted the frequency of how they appear as predicate, as reference, or as a modifier. So, and then the main question is, how are we going to the Waray roots? Because they don't behave in the canonical scheme 1 of Dixon. Okay. So again, this is pedagogical. So I use, this is the Waray corpus. I have 1,753,000 plus words there. So my research hypothesis is that words are variable in Waray. They belong to a category, yet they cross categories. So I selected 30 roots randomly and then count the frequency of usage and just the significance. And I also provided a sample sentences on how they appear as predicate, reference, and modifier. And then I plot the result using the multidimensional scale to observe the similarities and dissimilarities between investigated objects. So this is the MDS. So as you can see, the blue words are event evoking roots. Okay. So the red words are attribute evoking roots, and the green are entity evoking roots. But it's clear here that they tend to group, you know. So this indicates that there's a tendency for them to belong to a category. Traditional tagging of Waray words are not entirely correct. Example, the word damo, no, the one with the green, but it is traditionally tagged as an attributive. But in the corpus, it behaves like a noun. Okay. Damo means many. It is traditionally tagged as modifier. However, in the corpus, it is mostly used as a reference. Secondarily, as a predicate, and tertiarily as a modifier. And the same is true with the word burod or pregnant. The red one that's with the blue group there is traditionally tagged as an adjective or modifier. But in the corpus, it behaves more into the category of the event evoking roots. So the word burod is mostly used as a predicate in the corpus and secondarily as a noun and modifier, but they are not absolute categorization. Okay. So, and in the chi-square test, so this is their value. So, therefore, Waray words are not pre-categorial nor absolutely categorized. Waray words are variable. So these are the sample sentences from the corpus, where, for example, the word upod, no, to come along, they may be used referentially, predicatively, or modificatively. So how will this now affect the tagging of words in Waray? So we propose that we do the tagging based on the frequency. So if it is used primarily as predicate, we use 1P. So primarily predicative. And then 2M, secondarily modificative. And 3R, tertiarily referential. In this scheme, generally, roots may have three different clause structures. Roots are variable, as indicated by the thickest line as the primary function, and intermediate line as the secondary function, and relatively thin line as the tertiary function. Thus, in Waray, an event-evoking root could primarily function as a predicate, secondarily as a noun, and tertiarily as a modifier. While entity-evoking roots may primarily function for reference, they could also be utilized variably for predication and modification. Furthermore, attribute-evoking roots may also be used primarily for modification and could also be used variably for predication and reference. So the results of this study enable one to create a proposed part of speech tagging, doing away with the traditional part of speech tag such as noun, verb, adverb, or adjective. Thank you.